All right, y'all sitting here loading the hat. If and just want to give y'all a tip, man. Always use just get you this is an Apple pencil that ended up breaking on me. I bought like whew, I'm on my fourth one. I left one at a hotel room. Messing with I was on my iPad in the bed and fell asleep and packed up everything but lost the pencil. And then I've dropped a few and they end up not working no more. Something stupid happening. But anyway, if you have one of these old ones, or you can just go get you a cheap one. Okay, it don't have to work. You just need something to touch this screen so you aren't hitting the wrong button. Because if you hit the wrong button, especially like say you got a hat here and you mess around and you hit another frame or something, or if you hit the wrong button, or if you had a mighty hoops in, say you have those mighty hoop hooked up and you hit that button there, you really didn't want to hit that button, it's gonna bring that mighty hoop up, but the mighty hoops really don't fit here. And so they really not made, specifically for the machine. So sometimes it'll hit that needle plate up under here and it can get caught. So sometimes when it's around to do that on accident, I'll slightly lift on that thing to make sure it clears that needle plate. And I'm sure y'all done this before, but to avoid this as much as possible, use your stylus pen. Use your pen to to hit this touch screen, man, because wrong button can be catastrophic. It can be catastrophic, especially like I got this hat already hooped. If I mess around and hit another frame, this is gonna pull back. Okay, this is gonna pull back and it can't go anywhere because it's on the hoop, and it'll end up busting either it's gonna bust the hat or it's just gonna get stuck. The motor's gonna get stuck and it's gonna be back there, and then you got all kind of problems. So again, be mindful, and whenever you hooping caps, always set the frame. Always go here, set the frame first. Okay, set the frame first before you put that hat on there. You put that hat on there and then try to go in here and then go into a cap. You done for. All right. All right. So I just also wanted to leave y'all with, man, just a little quick embroidery tip dealing with these machines. Get your pen, man. Avoid some error, especially you men. All right, the sisters, they may be able to get away from it, but brothers, get y'all a pen, man. Avoid them headaches, man. You be able to holler. Show y'all something else too while I'm at it. When you get your machine, you're gonna find that it's printing. It's gonna embroider high on the hats. You're not gonna be able to get to the lower parts. Let me do a trace on here. You'll see what I'm talking about. See, watch how far down this goes. See, so I can get all the way down there. If you had a better hoop, you can get a little further. If you had that, like them hoop 2.0s, them hat hoops 2.0s or whatever, I think you can get a little further down. But when you get your machine, it's not gonna go all the way down there. You may stop about right here when you get your machine. And I really think I don't know. I think they just do that because they don't. The farther down you go, the harder it gets. Especially with this when you have these. I think it's a 6-panel hat, 5-panel hat. With the ones with the seam right here. You get down at that bottom part, it gets very hard here. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes this is where a lot of your needle breaks and stuff are gonna come from. But how you get to that point where you want to get because customers gonna want their stuff high. Lower. They're not gonna want their stuff. You know what I'm saying? The top part, the middle high part of the hat. You go to parameters. All right, and these are the parameters for shoot, I don't know, y'all. Let me see. Go to frame. Okay, yeah. So we hit frame, and then these are the numbers that you need to be having in. All right. These are the parameters. I think the other thing we was looking at, or maybe like some defaults you could set. Some other, just little sections that you could set up. But this right here, 4370, 590. Just put those numbers in for that frame, okay? And that's gonna help you get it a little lower. But always do a trace to make sure that thing. Let me see. Let me see what we was looking at over here. You know what? I ain't gonna mess with that. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it, y'all. But go to that frame. That's what you're gonna need to do. Here, boom. Go to frame. And then you can set the parameters. But you can set parameters also for your mighty hoops and stuff like that. So you'll have to get into that. I ain't really got into that yet, so I can't tell you. I'd be scared to mess with a lot of this stuff, but I know you have to come in here and adjust that hat. So this was the numbers. I forgot where I got them from, but this is all the numbers. And if anybody has better numbers, hit them in the comments. I want y'all to understand something too. I was supposed to change these needles. I had like the regular 7510 needles in here, and this is one of the things about embroidery that you got to understand is that it's tedious. It's about the details. Embroidery is about the details. You can't be, you got to do things properly. And this is why too, Ricoma has made a 20-inch, not a 20-inch, but a 20 needle machine, so that you can have a section for your titanium needles. You can have a section for your hats and a section for your flats. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they're advertising that. And it would be good though if we can trace on any needle that we wanted to, and that could be a thing. I'm gonna have to look into that. That we don't have to always go to needle one to do a trace. Especially if you have hats and say these 7 here, you have hats and you have your needle set up for hats on these 7. Why I gotta go all the way to needle 1 to why couldn't I start right here at needle 8 and do a trace from here? That'll be, that would be awesome. But yeah, you need to change the needles out, and I ain't do it. I want y'all to be better than me, okay? So y'all don't have the headaches that I have. But see, if we're going across the middle here, you're a little nervous. I'm a little nervous because I ain't put the right needle in. I ain't got the titanium needle in. So this is the part, this is the part right here in this center seam here. Don't ever put your hand in there either, man. I've seen many people have needles left in their fingers and they have to go to the emergency room. Very dangerous. They're a very dangerous machine. But yeah, change your needles out, y'all. Don't be like me. Change them needles out. But I'm finna run this thing. I ain't finna change these needles. I ain't finna change because I'm only running one hat. I ain't finna change these needles out. I'm finna just go, and that's what that's what happens too. A lot of times, when you get big, a lot of people just get into hats. Majority of they stuff is hats, so they'll leave them in there. And then when you have the titanium needles in there, those 80 by 10s, you have them in there. You can't put them you put them flats up there, it's gonna put holes in it. All right, it's gonna put holes in those flats. You put them up there. So you gotta be mindful of that. You gotta change these things out when you're going from hats to flats. And they got sharp needles. They got ballpoint needles. They got, it's a plethora of needles. They got some 65 6s or something like that for very thin needles. And a lot of times you'll get these needle breaks and get these things happening when you're doing the hats. You got the wrong needle. You got the wrong needle in there. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have you gotta have the titanium. You gotta have the platinum. You gotta have and so that's one thing to keep in mind when you're starting out or you're getting into this embroidery thing. The needles are almost as complex or almost they have as many as the the yarn, not the yarn, but the thread. You know what I'm saying? You got different levels to the thread. Also, the strength of the thread. You have different numbers for that also, so you gotta keep all of this stuff in mind. But you can't be lazy with embroidery. All right, you gotta take your time, and it can be the smallest detail that you miss can cause you a bad day. It can cause you getting on the forums and saying, "Hey man, this thing don't work, man. I ain't got nothing to do. Man, this thing terrible, man. I'm gonna send this machine back." And you ain't got the right needle in it. Or you got some wax threads you done bought from Walmart or some thrift store. You done found some thread somewhere and you done put that thing in that thing and you finna do that. Or you running this metallic and you running it too fast. You gotta worry about the speed you running these things at too. And so all of these things, like I say, it's all in the details, man. It's all in the details with embroidery. With printing and other things, you can skip some steps and you can, ain't gotta be perfect on some things. You know what I'm saying? But embroidery, You need to make sure that you have this thing dialed in, man, and check everything twice. Now, this is before I clean up the hat. You can see some of the foam coming out a little bit. Now, the best thing to do this with is just a lighter, y'all. But I can't find no lighter, and so I'm gonna have to do it the professional way. Let me just sit this up here, and we're gonna hit it with the gun. It might not be hot enough yet. Now the gun is very dangerous because you can actually burn a hole in this hat. Believe it or not. I still don't think he's hot enough. That's gonna have to be it though. I say we're gonna have to just trim him up. I do not want to burn a hole in this hat. So this order is complete. So, you know, it looks a little better, but the lighter would have got in there a little deeper. But this is, you know, when you stand away, that's perfect, you know. We just have to be real picky. And sometimes we get like that. We get extra picky with certain stuff, man. And you know, customer ain't gonna see that, man. And we be like, no, I ain't gonna send it out. You be sitting up here trying to get this thing clean as possible and burn off. Listen, you using this, you gonna burn a hole in the hat. If you using the heat gun, you gonna burn a hole in the hat. Best thing to do is to get a lighter. If you got multiple hats, maybe, because you can just spray around like that, I guess, maybe, you know, it's a little quicker. But yeah, that's all you want. So yeah, he crispy, and then of course I'm gonna get in there and cut those threads. And when you cut those threads, yeah, you probably need to get a lighter to just to hit those fuzzy parts and just to, you know what I'm saying, burn them down. And cut this thing off. All right, that's what I found. So we got it trimmed. Let's go in here and clean it up a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all can't see, but I'm trying to do this and hold the camera at the same time. You know, and here playing with fire. Y'all need to get y'all something a little more dependable than these Family Dollar lighters, because you're gonna be at Family Dollar all the time. You know, these things that, you know, they don't put but so much fluid in here. And that's it, y'all. Look at that. And that is crispy chicken nuggets. And I may can go in and get in between that Z. I'll probably snip that up out of there. And that's it. A little puff action. A little puff. And it's always good also to not, you know, to use the same color puff. Like I should have used red or yellow, you know, to get closer to that goal, but I just threw some white down, you know. It is what it is. Be better than me.